We've all heard the terms dry wicking performance wear or athleisure. It's a trend in sportswear that keeps athletes dry, or anyone else really, in their clothing. Tim Henning knows a little something about keeping athletes dry. He's the director of merchandising for FC Dallas. He says the trend is here to stay.
So the key is this. It really revolves around one thing. How do you remove perspiration from the body so that the body can regulate temperature? That's the key, right? Because too hot, too sweaty, you're going to not perform well and you're going to fatigue quickly. So that's the key. That's what we're driving at, right? So now we're moving into what we call smart fabrics or reactive fabrics. Reactive fabrics are, depending on what the temperature is and the moisture, that fabric will react in a different way than if the temperature was mild and cool. And now, of course, smart fabrics are the big thing, which is now literally, this is where we're moving, where the fabric is actually communicating to a computer. And that's where it's going. So it's telling, hey, your player, not only is he overheated, but he's actually at a level you might want to take him out of the game. We're getting closer to that. It's already implemented in footwear, but it's becoming a trend also you may see in the next few years in fabrics.
Another great benefit to this fabric is its weight. It's much lighter than cotton and fits our bodies so much better. So what's behind this new magical fabric? It's really just a blend of something we know very well, polyester.
And in those polyesters, what makes them feel different is most of it has to do with the knitting process. The poly, basically, how they loop those and how they knit it is what is the performance component of it, okay? Why the nylons? Well, number one, you can coat them a lot easier than can cottons. Cotton's very heavy. Cotton tends to, obviously, as we know, absorb moisture and takes a lot longer for it to dry out. The polys tend to react a lot better to the body. So really, you have some lycras for compression, but they're all pretty much poly nylon kind of based products.
Caring for this new blend is much easier too. If you remember to keep it cool and away from heat, you will have it for a long time.
First and foremost is the care instructions. Obviously, we all should read the care instructions. They're not there just to hold a tag on the garment, but they do communicate some information. But where I think your average, we'll call it your soccer mom, has to care for their products, don't let your product stay balled up and in a sweaty mess. The first thing we do is we would tell you to take that fabric, take that garment off, let it dry before you even wash it. Okay, that's number one, care. Number two is also, to your point, you do not want to ever put these kinds of products in hot temperature, and you don't want to, you do not want to dry it in a real hot dryer. If you have time, the best thing to do is actually lay flat and let it dry naturally. Okay, but who has time to do that? So what I always recommend is you put it in a very low tumble and a very medium heat, and just let it tumble dry that way.
And you know those pesky snags we get on our shirts? Have no fear, there is a way to fix it without having to replace the shirt or a pair of pants.
If you do have one of those little snags, one treatment, because these are engineered fabrics, it doesn't react like you mentioned earlier as a cotton would, but I still sometimes would say you can also clip in that little piece that's somewhat frayed. Don't try to pull it back through because it could create a lot of fuzzing and things like this, but the best thing to do is clip it and let it just kind of meld back into the fabric. It's again, it's not going to repair itself over time, but it will help in terms of the aesthetic look at that point.
So what can we expect next from this new kind of sportswear? Tim says expect it to keep expanding. We can also see more heathering and color blocking in the future.